Hello, welcome to the Mission Driven Business Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Thompson, an attorney, certified financial planner, and founder of a financial planning firm that serves LGBTQ entrepreneurs. I created this podcast to help mission-driven entrepreneurs build businesses that are both profitable and meaningful. On the show, you'll hear conversations from diverse entrepreneurs and experts who support small businesses in many, many ways. We'll talk about marketing, money, strategy, mindset, and what it really takes to build a business that aligns with your values and supports the life that you want. So whether you're just getting started or growing an established business, you're in the right place. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mission Driven Business Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Thompson. And for the last couple of weeks, we've been celebrating BTS 10th anniversary. First, I took some time to simply say thank you. Then last week, I reflected on some of the beliefs that have changed over my first 10 years in business. And today, I want to wrap up the anniversary series by looking forward. 10 years ago, I had no idea what BTF would become. And to be completely candid, I still don't know. I don't know what the next 10 years are going to look like, the next 20 years. But today, that uncertainty doesn't really scare me nearly as much as it did before. It excites me because one of the greatest gifts entrepreneurship has given me is the ability to sit in the gray and just take the next right step. So today, I want to think about the next 10 years, not just for BTF, but also for you. Because whether you've been in business 10 years, 10 months, or you're still thinking about whether to take the leap or not, there's a question worth asking. What are you building towards? When I started BTF in 2016, I was mostly concerned with whether the business would actually work. Would I get clients? Would I make enough money? Would people actually trust me? And could I actually do this? As I mentioned in the first episode, one of the moments where entrepreneurship really became real was that first payday when there was no direct deposit in my bank account. And I remembered, I have to generate this money now. I have to generate all of these things. So naturally, a lot of those early years were about survival. How do I get the next client? How do I market? How much should I charge? That's a question that I wrestle with a lot. And how do I run this thing? There's nothing wrong with that. Survival is an important phase of entrepreneurship. But 10 years later, I'm asking a different question. I'm not just asking, can I build this? I'm asking myself, do I want to keep building this? To me, that's a very different question because eventually, I think every entrepreneur has to shift from building a business, one that just survives, to building a business that can actually sustain itself and thrive. So as I thought about the next decade of BTF, I found myself returning to 5 questions. And I think they're questions worth asking about your business as well. So question 1, what do I want to keep? When entrepreneurs think about the future, we tend to immediately think about change. What's next? What's bigger? What's new? What needs fixing? But I think the first question should be, what's already working? And what don't I want to lose? For me, one of those things is relationships. I love Zooming with my clients and helping them work through complicated business problems. I love the moment when something clicks, when anxiety starts to fade, when someone realizes, okay, I can actually do this. So I want to keep working with mission-driven entrepreneurs. I want to keep having interesting conversations on this podcast. I want to keep learning. I want to keep following my curiosity. And I want to keep the personal nature of this work. Growth doesn't always mean replacing something at all. Sometimes it means just protecting what you already have. So ask yourself, if your business doubled over the next 10 years, what would you desperately not want to lose? That answer is telling you something. Question 2, what am I ready to leave behind? Of course, we can't take everything with us. And this question is a bit harder than what you want to keep. What am I ready to leave behind? There are beliefs that I've already started to let go of. The idea that I should do something simply because other successful advisors already do it. The idea that every opportunity is a good opportunity because it's not. The need to prove that I'm worthy, and maybe becoming a little bit less of a control freak, which is a continued struggle for me. But that's one of the gifts of getting older and of being in business a bit longer. I've started recognizing that saying no isn't closing a door. It's choosing where my energy goes. I want the next decade to contain fewer shoulds and resentment of saying yes when I really wanted to say no. Fewer things I'm doing because that's supposedly what other successful business owners do. And make more intentional choices about where my time and energy belong. What about you? What are you carrying in your business simply because you've always carried it? Maybe it's a service you don't enjoy anymore, a client type that no longer fits, a marketing platform that you actually hate, a definition of success you inherited from someone else. You don't have to take that into the next chapter. Question 3, where can I create more impact? This question gets me excited because one limitation of financial planning is that I only have so much time. There are only so many clients that I can personally serve, and that's why I brought on Jessica, so I could have more capacity and impact. Plus, one of the things this podcast has taught me is that impact doesn't have to be one-on-one. Someone can listen to an episode while walking the dog and hear exactly the thing that they needed that day. Someone can read a newsletter and finally take action on something they've been putting off for 6 months. Someone who isn't ready or isn't able to work with a financial planner can still access information that helps them make better decisions. I want to explore that more. I don't know exactly what that looks like. Maybe it's more writing, more speaking, more tools. Maybe technology creates possibilities that don't even exist today that may exist in 10 years. I don't know. I know that I just want to keep asking, how can the things I've learned help more people? And how can I continue to lead by example, one of my core values? And I think those are powerful questions for every mission-driven entrepreneur. Your impact and your revenue aren't necessarily the same thing. How else can your business serve who you intend to? Question 4, what kind of life does this business need to support? This might be the most important question to ask because it's really easy to create a business that just becomes another job. Actually, it's easy to create a business that becomes worse than a job. At least at a job, someone occasionally tells you to go home. As an entrepreneur, there's always another email, another project, another idea, another opportunity, another shiny penny. So instead of asking only, what do I want BTF to look like in 2036? I want to ask, what do I want Brian's life to look like in 2036? What does an ordinary Tuesday look like? What time do I wake up? How much am I working? What kind of work am I doing? Where am I living? Am I still healthy? Am I still curious? Am I still having a good time in the business? Those questions should come first. Then I can ask, what kind of business supports that kind of life? Not the other way around. I've talked a lot over the years about mission, vision, and values because those things help us make better decisions. They're not just words we put on a website. They should influence the way we actually operate our business. And maybe one of the best tests of our values is whether the business we're building allows us to live our values. Question 5, who do I need to become to build what's next? Last week's episode was all about the difference between 2016 Brian and 2026 Brian. And I have to assume that 2036 Brian is going to look back at me and think, you had so much to learn. At least I hope so, because I don't want to be the same person 10 years from now. I want to be wiser, more patient, more generous, more courageous, and again, hopefully a little less controlling, but no promises. I just want to keep learning, keep experimenting, keep becoming a better advisor, business owner, husband, friend, family member, and just person overall. Because the next 10 years aren't just about what BTF becomes, they're about who I become as I build it. As I was preparing for this episode, I thought about how to bring all these questions together. And I decided to try something I picked up from reading The Life Brief by Bonnie Wan. I wrote a letter to 2036 Brian. It felt a bit surreal to write, and it feels a bit vulnerable to share, but here we go. Dear 2036 Brian, first of all, congratulations. BTF is 20 years old, which is wild. I have no idea where you're sitting as you read this. I don't know exactly what the business looks like. I don't know how many clients you have or how big the team is. I can't believe you still have a team at this point, or what technology we're using, or whether you're still recording this podcast. Although I hope you are. And I hope a few other things are true. I hope you're still curious and asking meaningful questions. I hope there are things you're learning simply because you find them fascinating. I hope you're still surrounded by people who challenge you, who support you, and who make you laugh. I hope you're working with people that you genuinely care about. And I hope they feel how much you care about them. I hope BTF remains mission-driven and leads by example. I hope you found ways to help people beyond clients you can serve personally. I hope you've shared what you've learned generously. I hope you've kept building, measuring, and learning. And I hope some of the experiments you tried have failed spectacularly. Because to me, that means you've taken a lot of risk. I hope you protected your time by saying no. I hope the business gives you freedom rather than consuming it. And I hope your ordinary Tuesday has a lot of space in it. Space to think, space to go to the gym or play tennis, space to connect with people you love, space to do absolutely nothing every once in a while. I hope you're proud of what you built, but more importantly, I hope you're proud of how you built it. I hope you treated people well. I hope you kept your word and made amends when you made a mistake. I hope you stayed true to your values, even when doing so was hard. I hope you made enough money, saved a good bit, and spent some of it on luxury hotels and business class flights. And I hope you remember that enough is a different word from more. I hope you celebrated. That's something 2016 Brian wasn't good at all. 2026 Brian is still working on it. So I hope you've gotten better. I hope you got better celebrating with the clients, celebrating with the team, the wins, the ordinary days, because those ordinary days eventually become 20 years. And finally, I still hope you don't have everything figured out, because if the last 10 years have taught me anything, it's that some of the best parts of this journey were things I never could have planned or even dreamed up. So stay curious, keep following what interests you, keep asking thoughtful questions, keep trusting the process, and whatever BTF has become, I hope it still feels like you. Seeing you in 10 years. Whew. Okay. Felt like it took some courage to write that and even more to share it. But I would love for you to try it. The good news is you don't have to share it with the world. You can keep it to yourself or to share it with me. I'd love to hear it. You don't have to create a 10-year strategic plan. You don't need another spreadsheet. You don't need revenue projections. Just write yourself a letter. Pick a date in 10 years and write to yourself. Tell that future version of yourself what you hope their life looks like. Where are you? Who surrounds you? What kind of work are you doing? What have you kept doing? What have you stopped doing? What does your business provide you personally? What impact are you creating for others? What are you proud of? And most importantly, who have you become? Don't worry about whether your answers are realistic. It's not a forecast, it's a compass. You can figure out the route later. And with that, we've come to the end of our 10th anniversary series. 10 years. It still feels a little surreal to say, and I don't know what the next 10 years holds. I'm sure things will not go exactly to plan. And that's okay, because I've got a pretty reliable framework for figuring out what comes next. Build, measure, learn, and then do it again as quickly as possible. Now, on August 1st, 2036, I hope I get to sit behind this microphone and tell you what happened. I'm sure I'll have another 10 lessons, hopefully some good stories, probably several mistakes, and definitely a lot of people to thank. So I'll see you in 10 years. I mean, I will see you next week. But you know what I mean. Thank you for celebrating this anniversary with me, this 10-year milestone. And thank you for being a part of the mission-driven business community. Here's to whatever we build next. And until next time, keep pursuing your mission with passion and purpose. Thank you for listening to the Mission Driven Business Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Thompson. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcast. And if you know another entrepreneur who could benefit from this conversation, please share it with them. Until next time, keep building a business that creates both profit and purpose.